This workshop is actually about engaging with members of the research community on the development of strategy for the ICT programme. I don't think there's been a workshop that certainly we've organised that actually brought together all of the ICT communities and actually got them talking about what was important in different themes but also across themes. The ICT portfolio, the ICT research area is very, very broad. You know, you've got very basic fundamental work at one end, right through to very applied or more downstream research at another end. And you've also got very different cultures and disciplines within it. It's not like physics or chemistry. And the ICT itself, whenever you find it in your pocket, whether you find it on your mobile phone or on the computer, actually draws together lots of research. So actually, in order to get that impact at the end, it has to draw on lots of different parts of the community.
From photonics devices through to social networking people, you know, it's an incredible range within ICT. And I think when you collaborate with people, they give you quite different views, and it takes a while. It's hard work to actually communicate with other people from different cultures and using different terminology. But then things start to spark, and you get exciting things happening.
So what we'll be working is looking at the current state of the portfolio, getting an idea for what the research landscape currently looks like, you know, what's out there basically, what are people doing, getting them to think about why they're doing that and about what they should be doing in the future. What should the portfolio actually contain? You know, what should the research landscape be like, and how should it evolve and adapt over the next 10 years?
And clearly the ICT community is a very broad one, and partly the motivation for the meeting is to help develop an understanding across the portfolio rather than people having, you know, quite narrow views of their own area of work, and to see if we can articulate some challenges that will sort of energize the whole program and lead to a more coordinated approach and structure.
The workshop only brought together 43 members of the research communities across ICT, so not actually that many. But what they then did was actually they were talking between different parts of the community. So it wasn't all the computer scientists in one group talking together. They were actually talking with people from computer science, talking with people from electronics and photonics. That means that what they then decide as being priorities is actually from a debate which actually takes into account different perspectives, different ideas of what's important. But then when they go outside of the workshop and they consider what they might work on after it, in order to try and move the portfolio and the landscape of research on, they're operating in a slightly different way to what they were doing before. They've got new ideas, new perspectives, and they've made new connections.
Something I'm very conscious of is the emergence of quantum information, quantum computation, and I'm keen, both as an individual researcher and as a member of SAT, to promote a discussion about how the emergence of that area will restructure the program.
The second day had moved into a stage where people were thinking about what the shape of the portfolio could look like over 10 years.
What we've got down here is a set of the bits and pieces of items which people are researching now, and we've set them in a timeline which shows when we need to do the bits and pieces of work so that they can feed into these particular societal challenges now.
It actually got the community going away from the workshop, actually thinking about what it would do to try and create that shape of the portfolio that it sees as being important. Doing some first steps in doing that, whether that is encouraging networking and enabling networking, thinking about how the community can engage with us, right through to ideas for research projects, which would actually be the sort of first step in developing emerging areas or new opportunities.
From my perspective, as someone who works in technology, I've seen a lot of potential application areas for my work, and talking to other people, that's also true. So I think there's a potential for a lot of interesting collaborations to come out of this, over and above, you know, the planned idea for the workshop. Yeah.
It's highlighted where different parts of the community were actually converging. There are people working in computer science thinking about how to manage data, and also people in communications thinking about how to actually get that data between different places. There are people thinking about how you actually program computers that have many cores in them. Equally, there are people thinking about how you actually verify that code is correct.
One specific thing which I thought was very interesting that we discussed was how the digital economy program was a very good idea to get, in particular, computer scientists at the moment interacting with social scientists to see how they could better apply their research to real life, real situations and people. And we did feel that maybe that very good thing could be broadened to include hardware, and so technologies themselves could very well benefit from exactly the same process.
It's been shown that one of the major differentiators in productivity and in performance of economies is actually the early adoption of new ICT. What we're talking about is how we make sure that the portfolio of research going forward over time contains the elements it needs and is appropriately balanced to meet the future challenges for the UK.
We need to be able to articulate what we're doing and what benefits we're going to provide, and you can only do that by painting the bigger picture, and each of us individually don't have that capability. We need to get together and we need to show how our research interconnects and for the benefit of, as I say, UK PLC. That's a bit cliched, but that's what should drive it.
The workshop didn't give us sufficient to map out the next 10 years. I think it gave us a lot of useful information on how the portfolio could or should evolve over time, which we can take away and absorb and marry against thinking we already have. But I wouldn't pretend that we have now a map of the future. But what we have started is actually a process of engaging the community in thinking about shaping portfolio, shaping capability. It's a mixture of kind of opportunities in terms of ideas generation, because it forces you to think in a completely different way, and you can take that bit back to your own group and you can do the in-depth research from that. But the other thing is also finding people who you can genuinely collaborate with, where there's benefits on both sides and you both gain. And the only way you're going to do that is by lots of networking, lots of events like this. So I think it's really valuable. I think it's really exciting, actually.